if this is. I don't. I think we are live without intro.
To our intro.
Oh,
Yeah, I see the live.
oh, we
I
are
think we're
live.
live
No
without intro.
intro?
That's awesome. I don't know what the hell happened. Hope that's not a
Technology, gotta
precursor
love
of
it
things
on
to
a
come.
Monday.
That's freaking awesome that we were live without intro. Sorry about that, y'all. And just want to welcome you into Launchpad Reseller podcast, where if you've been selling for 20 minutes or 20 years, we are your mission control for all things reselling. And my name is Bob. I'm the Rocket City Reseller, and I couldn't not do this without my trusty co-hosts. We have Ellie Tennessee Treasures and She Shed Ashley 244. She Shed 244. I messed that up, but the no intro threw me off, y'all. What the hell?
Definitely.
I was like, where's the jam?
I was like, what the hell? Monday's Monday here again. Stop it, Monday.
Oh, geez. Well, here we are.
Here we are again with another one.
And
So
another one.
we haven't talked about what's been happening this first quarter, this fiscal year, this first 3 months of the year. We've had before we get into like the whatnot part of this, let's talk about a little bit about what this has been like a whirlwind for y'all. I mean, we met a lot of people over the past 3 months. It's been crazy busy. We've gotten a lot of insight and perspective. And if you're watching this back in replay, just know that, some of the things that we've talked about have really kind of refocused my energy a bit. It made me realize that it's about the mindset. I don't even know so much. We originally, our mission was to grow, but I think part of that growth journey is reframing our mind. Like it seems like,
Definitely.
I don't know what do you guys think about that?
I'm kind of with you because I'm in a mode, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is I need to slow down
Mm,
because it's been super like whatnot has been like on and popping, and I feel like just everything going on that it's been a lot of trying to run different rate trains, and it's like back to back, and it's like okay, we don't need to do that many. Let's take a step back. Let's reassess. And that's kind of where I'm at is let's take a step back, start focusing on smaller projects or smaller things. And that's what I'm getting back into doing book shows, y'all. I haven't done a book show in like
back to the roots.
getting back to the roots. I'm saying because I hadn't done a book show in like a while. I just kept putting them in the bin, and I had people that were coming for my books, and I was like it just
Mhm.
fell to the wayside because it was like okay. And then I did a book show like a couple weeks ago, and holy moly, they came in, and I was like okay, we got to kick this off. So I'm trying to regenerate that and keep that going. I've been Me and my library have been working on that the last few days. So I think I'm somewhat set on the library. So, but
Awesome.
yeah, it's just
What about you, Ellie? What do you think about all these guests and your mindset, and what did you see a shift at all, or
I definitely agree with kind of reframing and rewiring the way that I think in this
Mhm.
business. We've seen a lot of success on the guests that we've had on in the
Oh
past
yeah.
several shows and at different levels, all with very similar, some different strategies, but very similar advice and words for everybody. And I'm taking those in for myself as well. So
Mm.
for me, um, it's hard to balance static listing and live selling
It's a
and
mhm.
family
challenge.
because it's two different games, and then I still got the
Yeah.
kids and all of this thing. So
The
um
tiger by the tail, it really is live
yeah.
selling, because if you don't have your systems and process in for static first, it'll eat your lunch. It won't even think twice. It's that bully that's going to push you down and just take your lunch money. Really.
Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Tiny Toys.
So, Jeff,
Yes.
Tiny.
Hi Jeff. Hi Tiny Toys.
Yeah, so definitely I've been taking in and soaking in some of the
Yeah,
advice
even
that
me.
we've heard.
I'm doing that too, right? I stopped whatnot. For those that didn't know, I kind of put it on pause for a minute, because of other commitments that I have, work related. I didn't want to be that person that continued to reschedule shows, and I saw myself doing that.
Hmm.
So that was the writing on the wall for me. I enjoy my customer base and my friends too much to do that to them, because that's disappointing. So I'd rather put it on pause and take a step back from whatnot than to allow myself to become that person that doesn't show up for shows. That's
Yeah.
not me in general. Anybody that knows me well enough knows that that's not who I am or know who I claim to be. So for me, I'm going to refocus my energy. And part of that is starting my in person 9 to 5 job, which is something I haven't done in 4 years. So with that comes all the other stuff has to put on pause, right? That's the
Mhm.
part-time resellers point of view, which is different from y'all's point of view because you guys are full-time resellers, right? So I know it feels like part-time because of all the kids you have, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, you are technically a full-time reseller. You expect a
Technically,
full-time
I have
income
I
from
have
this,
part-time income, but
hopefully.
it's full-time work.
There you go.
That's the way that I like to put it. It for sure takes up a lot of time.
So with that, the money is the money. Amanda's been killing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what's great about doing this with a partner or spouse. Someone that can be there when you're not. Nothing's ever 50-50. It's sometimes a 60-40, 80-20. It's just the way it is. You pick it up where you have to, where the other person can't, and that's just how you go about a good relationship. So, but that's kind of the some of the things that I've been thinking about over the course of the last, what's it been, 11, 12 episodes? Hmm?
12, yeah. This will
Yeah.
12?
be 12.
12,
This will
yeah.
be 12. So, those are a lot of things. Um, Jeff appreciated my lunch money
Yes,
Yes,
he
phrase.
did.
I like that. I was like, "Oh."
Jeff, I'm old and I know things.
I do think too, though, that it's important, as life creeps in and things change in our lives, to protect ourselves from burnout,
Yeah,
um,
I just posted about that
because
today.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I
Mhm.
experience it. I'm sure, with coming into the office, you have less time to do things. Ashley, you were talking about, before the stream started here about, just too many rate trains, too much. Less is more, maybe.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, it can happen. I'm always the point of view where it's always run, run, run. And I've said it multiple times in our podcast meetings that you should be running faster. I can appreciate the point of view of slowing down too. So I'm always in contradiction with myself because I expect a certain result by a certain time. So it's something that I'm working on personally, but I think that we can potentially move forward in a way that might be helpful with everything that's going on. So I know that we don't have a lot of people in this episode, and that's okay because I think what this episode is going to give people for the whatnot intermediate is a frame of reference, almost like a dictionary. You don't need to read the dictionary, right? But you need to know where the dictionary lays in your house
Mhm.
because then you can pick it up, go to it, and refer to it and kind of be actionable with it, right? You can learn
Absolutely.
those new words. So that's the thing about this type of podcast. It's a really tough one to do because you want to give as much information as you can and have that information available, readily available to the masses. And whatnot's one of those things where it has a steep learning curve, but once you get there, it could be extremely lucrative. So I think that's a good place to probably start the I don't want to call it a presentation because that's not what it is, but that
I know it's not a
conversation. We'll call it a
presentation, but
conversation. I think it's a
dem-
more so a
demon-
conversation.
demonstration.
No, I think it's more so a conversation, right? Because
yeah,
if we
because
if you consider it a demonstration, you're going to check out after 5 minutes. I think it's more so a conversation, just because I like to frame it that way. If that's okay, we start just having a conversation about what you can do beyond the beginner, because you guys can go back to the beginner's guide if you didn't know there's one where you can go back to that. And I'll try to card this episode where you can go back to that. Hopefully,
yeah, sorry.
we could do that on YouTube. We'll card this episode back to the other episode. That way, they can go back and watch that for reference, and then kind of gain some better understanding. Because when you're new to whatnot, like I said, they have videos on YouTube and other places that whatnot did and produced, but some of those are not the best videos. I will just say.
And sometimes I think what it comes across is they do, because I will say when I first started out, I didn't see all the videos and different stuff. A lot of it was learning from other sellers, trial and error. And you got to figure out what works for you, because what works for me may not work for somebody else.
Mhm.
But this kind of helps you find the information, I would say, or where you can locate it. And so y'all know, I posted, there are 7 segments posted on She Shed 244 on Facebook of the breakdown of what intro to whatnot. I am very, I guess I could say, a perfectionist. And I was like, hey, this is the best I can do with my tools that I have, but I have step by step text and pictures. You can actually see them, all of that. So if you need help with how do I set up a show, that sort of thing, it's broken down into 7 segments. So you can see
Nice.
that.
Perfect. I think that's actionable, right? And that's what
Hmm.
anybody needs, like a quick reference guide almost.
Hmm.
Because who the hell wants to watch a 20-minute video? First of all, 10 minutes of it is the intro. We don't, right?
Yeah,
Which is probably good that this one didn't have an intro. The
I
hell with
know,
that.
right?
Yeah, right.
The hell with that intro.
How did that work?
I'll do that YouTube guy. I'm going to be like, our intro is hell to the intro.
Dang.
Forget the intro. Yeah.
That's a tough stance right there. You have no idea, no context of who we are, what we're doing, but I think our community is growing quite a bit.
Hmm.
So let's talk about that before we get into it. Our Facebook community, we have our respective Facebook channels that She Shed 244 just mentioned. You can find her on Facebook and also on Whatnot if you have questions. Also, Tennessee underscore treasures on Facebook. You are what?
Tennessee Toys and Treasures on Facebook.
Okay.
And
And
then
also Instagram, right? Which
I think it's just
is,
Tennessee Treasure, Tennessee underscore treasure on Instagram, as well
right.
as TikTok and YouTube.
And of course, I'm Market City Reseller pretty much everywhere. I think Instagram is HSB, which is the Huntsville Airport.
Hmm.
There's a guy out there with Rocket City Reseller that doesn't
Stealing
use
our
his
name.
account, and he's just not doing anything. I'm like, give me your
It's so
account. He's like,
frustrating, I know, right?
no, you can't have it. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Frustrating. I get it.
It's okay. Um, but anyways, so that being said, those are the places where you can find out where we are and how to connect with us. And I suggest you do that because YouTube is sometimes we lose focus. We can give you a very high level approach, but if you want to get to the nitty gritty, the granular approach to reselling, you're going to want to follow us on those other sites because we get into the weeds a lot more there and we can get more detailed in those responses than we can through YouTube. So
Yeah.
that's my final plug on that. And I'll hand it over to She Shed 244. Ashley, let's go.
So let's go. So the biggest thing that I think we've all come across with different whatnot sellers that we've talked to is actually doing a show. So that's what I wanted to get into is kind of today is to really look at how to run a show. There are tons of resources on whatnot. We're going to go. I'm going to show you where you can find them. There are YouTube videos, all that jazz. But I'm going to walk you through, and yes, walk like even those that are listening, how you can access this information. I will get it up on my Facebook account. I'm in the process. I will be getting that up in the next day or two. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. So when you first log into Whatnot, and I know depending on if you're on your cell phone, I know this may be very blurry, maybe blurry for you to view it. Desktop version would be a little bit better to view it, but it'll be better once I get it posted. You'll be able to see it. But this is your main Whatnot login page. When you log in, all the way on the far right hand side, you're going to see your profile picture. I'm just showing you how to access, how to get to your shows. So once you click on that profile picture, you're going to get a drop down menu that you're going to see the selling section is already highlighted. And right below that, you're going to see shows. Once you click into your shows, and then for all of you that are looking as well, another disclaimer, this is a desktop version. So if you're using Apple, if you're using an iPad, if you're using your phone, the setup might be a little bit different. This is just showing you the desktop version. So once you go into your shows, you're going to see a list of shows. You're going to select the show that you have. So this one, I made a show, Whatnot Intermediate, and you'll just click on Open Show. It's directly underneath your show. And this is what your screen's going to look like. So you haven't even started the stream, anything. This is just showing you what you're able to see on your end. as you're viewing that. So there are a lot of different functionality, and we're going to kind of walk through it as we look at it, because desktop version and phones sometimes, and some people use either their phone. I use my phone a lot to run. Sometimes some people use their desktop iPads, so that way functionality is a little bit different. So first thing I want to talk about is you have a left hand side section and you have a right hand side section, and then dead center is like your camera area. That's what your viewers can see. That's what you're seeing as well. At the very bottom, when you're ready to start your stream, there's a big yellow button that says start stream. You're just going to click on that. Once you click on that, you are now live. So on your left-hand side of the screen, you have different like subcategories. You have your offers, auction, giveaways, buy now section. That's all on the left-hand side. Your offer section, if you click into it, it's going to create another pop-up menu. And this is going to show listings that you might have offers that maybe somebody during your live is offering you something on a listing that you have. You actually, right below it, you have a search functionality where you can actually search those offers. And then right next to that, you also have a sort by, and this you can sort by minimum percentage off list, that sort of thing, to categorize, to kind of help find those offers. Okay. Next to the offer section, you have the auction section. So this is all of the items that you have imported into your show that are up for auction. When you click onto the tab of the auction section, at the bottom, you're able to see your items, all your items that are listed. And I'm going to dig a little bit deeper and look at some of those options as well that are underneath. You can actually search by product. So say I had a Tiny Toons book, I could type in Tiny Toons and it's going to pull up that listing for me to select. You can
I ask you a question, Ashley?
Yes, go right ahead.
Sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
you're good.
Is there a section where it shows them how to add items to their show?
Yes, I have that on the I can, if we have time, I can pull it up, or
Okay.
yeah, I can pull it up and show how to add. It might take me a few minutes to find that, but yes.
No, you're fine. I was just curious because right now in context, and I apologize for all the people on Spotify listening
Yeah.
to this. I'm sure it doesn't translate well. I'm gonna
No.
encourage our Spotify audience to come to YouTube if they can visually and do that. Hopefully you guys can, and we're growing quite a bit over there, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, if there's time later, maybe we can go over like how they were to add an item to their either their auction or the buy it now, etc. I think that's a powerful tool, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can't remember, did we do that in the first one or not?
Yeah, we did that in the first one.
Okay, good, perfect.
Yeah, we did it in the first one on how to add an
Oh,
item.
perfect. There you go.
Okay.
Then you don't need to review.
I know, because I was like, I don't want
learning, y'all.
No, because I thought about doing it, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to backpedal a little bit. I wanted to kind of, because you know how we got last time, it was super long, so I didn't want to make it too long.
Thank you, Ellie, for reminding me.
Yes, thank you, Ellie.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ashley.
No, you're absolutely fine, and I want y'all to interject, add, please. Yeah. So auction tab, you can select your item. It'll give on the left hand side, when you go to your item, it'll have product actions, a tab there. If you click on that, you get another pop-up window that pops up in the center of your screen. That's where you can start the auction. You go ahead and run it. You can actually edit the item. So sometimes maybe you have an item, because I know sometimes I'll be like, you might have somebody that's like, hey, would you take $4 for this? You can actually edit your item in your show or as you're running the auction, and I'll show you that functionality too. So start auction, then you have edit item. You can pin your item, that way it's pinned, which is always a good thing, and I just want to call that out when you pin your items, because for Whatnot, a lot of Whatnot users, they bookmark certain items. So when you pin that, it gives them an alert that, hey, you have that pinned, that you're about to run it, for them to show up in your show if it's an item they're wanting to purchase. So I always recommend pinning your item prior to running it, to give them time to come in, because sometimes, depending, and we all know technology, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to come in. And
You
then
know
you
what
can
I've
also, oh, go ahead, sorry.
sorry to interrupt. I want to put this out there. Some people that I've seen using that function that you're talking about to pin it, they create a listing, just a general listing, and they list it at like $1 million or something.
Oh yeah.
And then they pin it at the beginning of their show and then like they'll ask people to um, bookmark that pin every show,
Hmm.
whatever, so they get that notification too, just as like I don't know, I've seen a few people doing that.
Yeah, I know. Yes, absolutely. Great call out, Ellie.
Hmm.
I know Mother Flipper X does. I know a
Okay.
few people do as well, that they have a pin listing for like an outrageous amount of money, or a listing that to bookmark. So anytime they go live, because I think we all know that sometimes when you go live, there's a long delay,
Hmm.
that some people aren't getting that alert. So if you bookmark that pinned that item for a bookmark for future shows and they pin it, that helps let everybody know you're live. So great call out.
Yeah,
That's something I need to do too. I've been
I know.
saying
I
that.
was thinking about it.
I'm just like, do I put $1 billion or
Right. Nobody bid.
nobody
You can call your
did?
listing mini me.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I don't.
I know,
Well, the
right?
important part is that it never gets run. Right. The item never gets run, even at the ridiculous high price.
Yeah.
Imagine
But
swiping on that accidentally, or
yeah.
the
Right.
cat doing it. You ever get those messages about your cat buying something? Sure, person. We
Oh my
believe you that
god.
your cat purchased it. Cheers. There's
My
always humor there.
kids.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the other call out, correct, they might run it as a bin item, as a buy it now, so then there's not that chance of accidentally swiping. Maybe. I think some do it as a bin.
Actually, I think it's the opposite, if I'm not
Oh, it is?
mistaken, and we
Okay.
can look into this, but as a bin item, somebody can purchase it perhaps on accident. But if it's an auction, you have to physically run it in order for somebody to swipe. So the key
Okay,
is
gotcha.
never run it.
Just give me the
Don't
Okay.
run
million
it. Don't run
dollars.
it. Don't run the $1 million pin.
Well, mine is, that automatically that bank account is gonna be like,
Yeah.
no.
Or if it goes through.
Transaction
I mean,
failed.
if it goes through, holy moly, I want a
You got it like that.
cancellation. No cancellations.
Oh man.
Oh gosh.
Uh,
Yeah.
Uh,
just
so
some
great call
whatnotters
out, Ellie.
whatnotting.
Thank you.
That's all this
Yeah.
is.
I know,
Yeah.
right? I know, right? And then, so different options, and you can delete the item completely. So when you get ready to start the auction, when you click on the start the auction functionality, you're gonna get a whole nother pop-up, guys. This one, it gives you the format of setting your auction settings. So you have the option of, you can make it sudden death, where the counter doesn't go back up, it just draws all the way down. If you just there's a toggle switch to switch that over. Then directly below that, you're going to see the starting price, and then you're also going to see time. Automatically, Whatnot always does 30-second auctions. You'll hear everybody in shows when they run a 30-second auction. It's new, it's my first day, that sort of thing, because 30 seconds just
Every
seems like
time.
forever.
Same.
Every time.
Yes. At least once, I will say, at least once
A
in a
thousand
while.
shows in, and I'm still doing it. So
I
And
know.
30 seconds feels like an eternity.
it
It
does, especially when
does.
your arm
Feels
is
so
there
long.
and you're just
I just
stick
start
out your
sitting.
arm for 30 seconds and just keep it there for a second, and then
I
get
know,
back to
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get
Yeah,
back
right?
to us.
The other
Um,
thing is this bottom timer that you circled here,
yes.
with the 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, that thing can add time even if you have it at 10 seconds for your like original timer.
Hmm.
Having that at 10 seconds makes it an extra 10 seconds. So like frustrating.
Yeah, correct. So what Ellie's talking about is directly below your starting price and time, you have a counter bid time. And that one I think it automatically sets up at 10 seconds, but you can actually, and if you're not doing sudden death, what it is if somebody bids, it's going to add more time to
Yep.
the counter, and it's however much time you select. So that's entirely up to you. The only other call out just wanted to mention is where you see the starting price and the timer. Time, the max you can do is 5 minutes on an auction. And I say this because I'm just putting it out there. With the one show we run, it's 5 seconds the whole or 5 minutes the whole show. we try to counter with less than 5 minutes to be within that 5 minute guideline, but it'll only go to 5 minutes. Other thing I want to call out is that starting price on this screen, you can actually change your starting price too, as well, if you need to.
I like that because sometimes when I'm researching, I put a price that, and then I get to whatnot, and I'm like, I can do lower. So
Same.
lower it.
Same. I'm the same way. I'm like, maybe, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
So if you want to change your time, that automatic 30 seconds that's popping up, if you click onto it, it'll give you, you can drop your time. It'll give you a selection of different time spots that you can select. I'll be the first one. I think the majority of us do 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sometimes I do 15 seconds, 10 seconds. I think that's kind of a norm. I think 15 is always a good.
If I'm on a 30-minute raid train, I do 10 seconds. If I got some time, 15 seconds is cool.
Yes.
Well, that's a good point. If you don't have a lot of inventory, right, and you want to do a 30-minute show, you could potentially do 30-second runs and just talk about your item in more detail.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid that if you don't have quite the bit to get started, don't worry about that. You can. There's ways of mitigating the time between. You just got to be creative, and because what you're trying to do is you have 3 seconds basically to gain someone's attention to make the sale, and that's probably where the counter, you want that lower. So if you have a 30-minute show, you have 10-second runs, you might want to do a 2-second counter after the bid, just to kind of keep things like electric, we'll call it, for lack of a better word, because the vibe can change the show too, and the speed in which you run. So maybe when you're first starting out, a raid train is not what you want to do until you get comfortable with the rhythm and the flow of it, because that could determine your ability to be able to say, oh wow, that was either a great show or that was a terrible show. Yeah. And it's all about that timing, because it is very much a timing thing.
And then let's talk about shows with momentum. Do you know how to get onto the shows with momentum page?
No? Oh, this is a static. I don't think we can do it live, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll on your For You page. It'll show like right on your For You. I say your
right on the For You page.
There's like a banner that are shows with momentum, and those shows are shows that are getting constant bids. Right. I don't know what the metric is, but they should be getting like regular bids. So I've seen Amanda Fiona's Finds do really well when she does Little People, because people are constantly bidding, so she can show up in that bar. So
which brings in more people because they may have not seen your show.
Yeah.
Because you are having traction. The Mama Cat Thrifter does this often too. You'll see it in her shows where she's constantly selling through. Within 10 seconds, she's making sales. And I wonder if it's so many 10-second sales that equal that metric. As a software engineer, that makes sense to me that you would program it that way. So
yeah, I'm actually not sure of what the metric is or what the goal is to meet. But
then that's a new feature, right? So that's something that they recently changed.
Yeah, I think it's because I was trying to think if there's another. I know it shows with momentum. I thought there was another one, but I can't recall it at the moment.
There may be. That's the one. That's the more newer one that I have seen. I've seen it. Amanda, again, Fiona's Finds, make it to that and kind of explain what that was. So that was kind of cool to see. See it live, and people in her chat were telling her, "Yeah, I saw you from the shows with momentum banner on the landing page." So it works.
Yeah, it gets more eyes on you, absolutely, and that's. I mean, I think that's another key call out since we're bringing it up with the show with momentum, is just people tapping the screen also helps with the algorithm too, as people coming in.
Chatting. Keeping your chat active. I hate calling chat, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Don't scream chat at your chat, by the way. that's a more
that's
of a
big no. It's a big no.
Who's chat?
Yeah, exactly. Who's chat?
Who's chat?
But yeah. Don't call chat. Get creative.
I think definitely their goal is to get people to run things. The theme of this is run your items, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What is the magic word, Bob? If you touch it, run it.
Yes.
That's a Corey Mannix thing, right? Run that shit. He wrote a book, didn't he? Corey Mannix. He wrote a book.
Yes, I have not read it, but I have. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was basically called "Run That Shit." So basically, the idea is if you touch an item, regardless if the person changes their mind, you run it regardless.
Hmm.
because
Right.
they wanted it. Guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, it created something in another person that says, "Ooh, I want that too." And
Yes.
that's the
Mhm.
power of live auction. So
Mhm.
whatnot,
Absolutely.
someone could be like wasn't tracking, right? All of a sudden, someone shows interest in something. Next thing you know, you have a bidding war. That's what you're hopeful for.
Yeah,
That's what
that's
Right.
you're
what you're
building
always
for,
hopeful
right?
for.
Right.
You don't need a lot of people in your room. You just need two people in a room that want the same thing at the same time. So just keep
Absolutely.
that in mind
Correct.
too. You could have 10 people in your show and not really care because you have
Only
two
two of
people
them
that
are
want
bidding.
the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. I think we've all been there. Yeah, have those two people fight duking it out, and it's like, okay, who's gonna get it?
You know what always gets me about whatnot is you tell them I have more than one because Amanda does this a lot because she feels bad for folks and she wants to make sure they save a lot of money.
Hmm.
Fiona's funds. She will say, "I got another one," but people will still try to bid each other up
Yes.
Mhm.
because they want to prove
I
a
think
point.
she has the little people are in such high demand right now that it doesn't matter if she has two of them because
Hmm.
maybe five people want it. Like I
Oh,
think
maybe
that's
yeah, maybe that's the
behind,
case. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
could be.
Yeah.
Could be. So, yeah.
Yep.
Whatnot. It's
I'm
its own
saying.
thing. It's
there's a
its own thing.
psychology to live selling.
There really
Oh
is. It's
yeah, there
behavioral
is.
science for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
there's
yeah,
some.
for sure. And I feel like we'll touch on some of that as we go through as
Mm,
well, because I think another key call out, I know we're going to get through the different options. Another key call out is read the room. Like
Mm.
if you're in a show, and I think we've all done it, like all of a sudden you're showing a Scooby Doo product, they buy it, and you're like, okay, you show another one, they buy it, and then you're like, okay, and you start feeling people out that are in your room as to what they're looking for, because I think we all at times, sometimes during our show, be like, okay, let me know if there's anything you're interested in. Okay, I'm just gonna pull whatever, and we keep asking, through periodically, like,
Chat does
check
not
out the.
say they do not
Chat
want to
will
tell
never
us what
talk
they
to you.
want.
I was gonna say
They'll never
yes,
talk to you and tell you what you gotta kind of have to like. Ashley mentioned you gotta feel the room.
And
yeah,
keep those analytics. Like if you know Princess 244 is going to buy all the Scooby Doo, guess what
yes,
I'm
and
pulling every time Princess comes in the room.
and you'll see that some of the
correct.
regulars too show up for you because they enjoy your style, your flow,
Yeah.
whatever is the case, and you
Mhm.
become almost like a personal shopper for these folks. You see
Yes.
Oh
something
yeah,
out and about, and you're like, for one of us, she became a dear friend, one of our buyers, Melly05.
Hmm.
She likes a certain type of thing, and we come across it very often. So for me, I know that if I pick it up, 9 times out of 10, she's going to be the one to purchase that item. So that there is that as well, which is nice if you're into that type of like vibe where you want to become a personal shopper. Whatnot can be that. You can do private shows. You don't have to go wide to everybody. You can
Absolutely.
Mhm.
curate a private experience for somebody, and that's important context
Hmm.
because it's a powerful tool in that way. Something some people don't often think about. We've done it before where we have private shows where you can set
Right.
up your experience for that one person and only they can come in the room. So
Correct. And then I'd say another call out is your shop. Your buy it now functionality of just putting stuff in your shop. I can't tell you how many times I've like, man, I wake up and I have like four or five people that bought stuff just straight out of the shop, and it's like,
happened
okay,
to me this week. Funko Pops. I'm still selling
yeah,
Nice.
them, even
the
though my
Funko
shop's
Pop's still
paused.
going
Right?
strong.
Hey.
Yeah. So my Funko Pops, I sell them on whatnot for $5, and they're loose. They're not graded or in the box or anything, but I'm still selling through them because I
Love
have
it.
that one thing that the person wants. So it's
Yeah.
keeping my account active, and I have items in there, and I like to pick up toys, not as much as Tennessee Treasures or Tiny Toys in chat, but I do like that type of thing as well. So
Mhm.
what I do is by the grace of God, I have a wife that will load that stuff in for me, and it'll sell through my marketplace. So
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I see this question a lot floating around like the Facebook groups and forums of people asking, can you static list on Whatnot? Is that a thing? Yes, yes, you can static list and still make sales. I don't think that we are at the capacity where we're going to be making, crazy
Bukus.
sales all the time compared to other static listing sites, but the sales are there. The sales are there. Tiny Toy said
yeah.
she got a sale from the Buy It Now. She
Hmm.
gets sales from the Buy It Now too. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah, it can
Yeah.
happen, just not on the volume that you're expecting from. You got to remember that the user base for a static platform like eBay is like 4 or 5 times the size of that of Whatnot.
Yeah.
right.
So you got to remember in context, there's millions and millions of users on eBay that are potentially seeing your items, whereas Whatnot, there might be a couple 100,000, maybe. The
Mhm.
We
market's
do
still
show
young
up
for
in
Whatnot.
Google search though. Our products show up now in Google search, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
Yes.
a little bit newer, but it's helping those static sales too.
Yeah, correct. Because uh, the number, I think it was one of my highest selling items was out of the bin. It was a LPS plush. I had it listed in my shop and it sold out of my shop. I was second guessing my life choices when it sold, for what it sold for, because I
Still
was
living the
like,
life.
man, I was like, let me re Google because now I feel bad. And I said, because it was high. And I think it was like 40 or $50. I was like, whoa. And I Googled it and my listing came up. And I was like, holy crud.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
Well,
like,
I wonder about that because that takes money. Google Ad Services is a partner for that, I'm sure, and that takes revenue to actually get those ads into those spaces like that. So I
mhm.
wonder if it's that or if it's just normal SEO type of this is my item, just like any other marketplace. Because Etsy does that; they'll go ahead and put advertisements out for your items,
Yeah, but
and
they
they'll
charge you, don't they?
but they charge for it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
so I don't think there's any hidden fees in here that we show up on
yeah, so it
Google, so
must be
it's
just
nice.
normal, like where it's scraping back through,
Mhm.
and just
I'm
like
just looking at
eBay
search,
would show
maybe.
your item right in that way. So
Mhm.
it must be that.
I think that
That
alone
that's good that
alone
they're
shows
doing
the
that
growth
though,
trend.
because yeah, that's good that they're doing that because that actually is a game changer maybe for some of this stuff.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it's
Okay,
only going to
sorry we
grow
interrupted you.
too. Yeah, it's only going to grow
Oh
too.
yeah.
By the way, Whatnot,
Oh
Cam
yeah.
Life, who was on, said what I was always been saying. You know how it's bigger in Asia than it is here, um, in that the market is only going to grow from here. So if you think you're too late to Whatnot, think again. You're not too late. And I'll let Ashley get back to it because I know she has a lot more to unpack.
No,
We
yeah,
got a lot
I
more to
tried.
say
I
about it.
reeled it in. I reeled it in from last time. Last time we covered a lot.
Yeah.
This
But
time
we
I
got a
was
lot,
like,
lot of
okay, let's
insight
stick. Oh
from
yeah,
this
and that's
from
fine.
this one. Yeah, we got a lot of insight from this one thing. So
Yeah, and that's
Right.
where I'm. That's why I'm like, I want to input that because that we have discussed so many times that just going live is the hardest thing, and that's something I'm going to bring up at the end, towards the end. But there are a lot of like going, startup different resources, and I suggest because I did it before I went live, do a private show where it's just you
Mhm.
and get used to the functionality and running and stuff. And if you have friends that you can be like, hey, you can do a private show and share the link with someone and get that feedback from them too
Mhm.
before
mhm.
to make you more comfortable. That's a suggestion I have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
To
no,
get
Ruth,
give you
you,
Ruth
some
ended it with
constructive
Mother
criticism.
Flipper X, right? I'm sorry.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. That's, sorry, I think we talked over shit. Go ahead, Ellie. You first.
I just said it's nice to sometimes receive constructive criticism, like if you have somebody,
Mhm.
to tell you, "Hey, your lighting's too dark," or "Your sound isn't right," or whatever, "It's staticky," or "Internet's not great," whatever the matter be.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, Bob, I think, Ruth Ann she mentioned she did that with,
Mother Flipper
Becky.
X.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mother
Yeah.
Flipper X. If you guys aren't following her, by the way,
Oh
make
my
sure
god,
you
y'all
do.
need to.
Becky's awesome, and she was on the podcast recently. And unfortunately, I missed that episode. I couldn't be there because of work obligations. But I mean, it was a great episode. So I encourage you as a bonus one. So we actually are further along in this journey than we thought because we have
Yeah.
bonus episodes that
Oh
kind of
yeah, that's right.
so just remember that. And I think we're going to probably see a lot more of that. So if you guys are enjoying the content on the podcast, just know that we're going to probably throw a couple more lives up, in relation to the podcast, but not directly about. They're all going to be reselling, but we have a couple ideas that we're going to bring to the table in a different perspective in reselling, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. So be on the lookout for that stuff. Anyways, back to the whatnot intermediate.
I know, I know. It's all good. And that's what I want. I want it to be a conversation because otherwise this becomes a hi, I'm teaching you and blah. I mean, I did it for years and I don't want it to be that. I want
Well,
it
it's
to be
been 40
interactive.
minutes and I don't want to jump out the window, so we got that going for you.
Okay, good. So long story
Don't want to
short,
jump out
I'm
the
on the
window.
first floor, so what the hell?
I
If
know,
you
right?
don't want to jump out the window yet, like Bob said, hit the subscribe button. Cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Ellie,
Absolutely. Look at you,
make
Ellie.
you
Get it,
leave,
girl.
make you leave.
Get it, girl.
90% of people that watch this podcast don't subscribe. Can you believe that, Ellie?
I
Can
can
you
believe
believe
it.
that?
Hit that
90%.
subscribe button, y'all.
I'm a data engineer, a data scientist. I know. I know. I look at the numbers. And can you believe that, guys? Shoo. Smash that subscribe.
So cut real back in, just so I can get through
Back
this.
to you.
But
We're shameless. Sorry
so
about that.
you like we were talking about, you can change your time as well as your counter bid time to whatever selected. Once you selected everything that you want, you just hit start auction, and now it's running live. And then that's where people, you can see them bid on it. You can see as your counter goes down, but it is live selling. It is live up for auction. The next thing next to your auction tab is your giveaways. And I know this is a number one question that is always asked. It was covered in Intro to Whatnot. It's on the Facebook on your giveaways. Giveaways you do not have to do. Giveaways kind of help. What they help do is help get you more followers. Help get you more followers that maybe come back and bookmark your shows, help with repeat customers. But setting up that listing, I think we've all been there. When I first set up mine, I was paying $5 for every giveaway I gave away because I didn't know how to set it up.
Before they
So
had the PWE, isn't that a more recent thing? It hasn't always been a thing.
No, it's been always. Yeah, it's always
not always.
because Whatnot started off with just cards. If we recall
Yeah.
correctly, and part of
Yeah.
the
I
reason why
think
that
that it was.
exists is because of
I
cards,
think it
right?
was not available though across all categories.
Right. It was
Correct.
I don't
only.
know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It was only for the card category.
Right.
Got
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So that's
But
kind of,
anyways, it was covered in
anyway.
the
Yeah.
the beginner's guide to Whatnot, and it's very very valuable to understand what PWE is, and that stands for plain white envelope. If you're not
Mhm.
sure, so go back and watch that one and repeat. You can thank us later. We just saved you a whole bunch of money by switching the card.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
78 cents as long as
Don't
it
pay
fits in that envelope, and that's where it's like stickers, cards, gift cards.
Yeah.
It has to fit in that envelope.
Yeah. But definitely
So
go watch that because it will. Yeah. There's so many people that pay
5
$4.50, $4.70, 5+ for a
for
giveaway plus
shipping.
whatever they're giving away.
Yeah.
And don't worry about other people's hot takes about stickers because they don't matter. I'm not going to shame that person
It's
publicly
what
that said that,
long
but the
long
community knows.
correct. Mine is what you feel comfortable with giving away. It
Yep.
shouldn't be something extravagant. If it's stickers that you want to give away,
Hmm.
long story short, your buyer does not have to enter the giveaway.
And you don't have
If
to
they
give
don't
one.
want what you're giving away, that's fine. You're putting it out there
Here's
for
one
the
for
Bob,
you. If you get rated, you don't have to do a giveaway. You can do what Jack's Treasures does, do a price fall, right?
Oh yeah.
They're genius. Shout out to Brian and Tracy at Jack's Treasures. But basically, what they do is they drop the price by a few dollars. They may even drop it all the way down to $1, just as an appreciation for that raid, and call that person out. It's a genius idea, right?
Yeah.
Because if
Mhm.
you don't have a lot into the item anyways, and you're okay with doing that, problem
Right.
solved. You don't even have to create a listing. All you have to do is change the amount to $1 and run it. You were going to say something, Ellie? Sorry.
Sorry, my ADHD. I remember.
We're
Gonna
so
say
excited.
one of my favorite giveaways that you guys did was Wendy's Halloween. What is
Oh,
it?
the Boo Bucks.
Boo Bucks. Yes, that was one of my favorite giveaways. So original, and
Yeah.
I have 4 kids, so I was like, oh, they're gonna love
Yeah.
that. I won
Mhm.
one of those giveaways, by the way, y'all.
We
So.
tried to do Wendy's has the frosty options. They're not doing them anymore.
The
Can you
key
guys
tags, yes,
believe
they
it?
are.
Not in our area.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
for some reason we were told that they weren't going to do it
I,
this year. I don't know if it's a franchise, the franchise thing maybe could
Mhm.
potentially be. I know that supports the Adoption Foundation, which is a super important part of our foster care journey and all the other stuff because they are a supporter of that,
I
obviously.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so we were gonna give out, yeah, they were gonna give out that little keychain so that you guys can get
They're
a
three
frosty.
dollars here. Yeah.
Yeah, so we were
Yeah.
gonna do that as a giveaway, and we couldn't get them. It was so sad.
Oh,
I wonder. I mean, maybe I can get you guys some because I'm pretty sure I saw the advertisement here. 2026, $3 for the keychains.
Do you know
We're
those fines?
2 months in, so but right. I'll steal
you
your
gotta go
idea, Bob.
across state lines.
I'll steal your idea.
That's okay.
I will
That's
say,
Yeah, that's okay. That's what this community is about, giving great
yeah, right.
ideas to other people. So
Oh yeah.
So Ashley, you were saying about the giveaways and how they help us gain followers
Hmm.
and hopefully bookmarks and things like that. I do think though that the 5 minutes, because you get 5 minutes for that giveaway, and
Correct.
they have to stay in your show for those 5 minutes. So that's the 5 minutes. If you're doing a giveaway and you have people that are entering that giveaway, you have that 5 minutes now to introduce yourself, talk about yourself, tell people about your shop, run things, announce, hey, look in my auction tab, um, bookmark my future shows, all of that kind of thing. You've got that 5 minutes now to, rather than the original 3 seconds you had if you got rated or whatever, now
Yeah.
you have a little bit of extra time if they've clicked that enter giveaway. So,
Correct.
same.
Yes, absolutely. It runs automatically for 5 minutes. If y'all remember back in the olden days, you had the Givey goblins that would come in, enter the giveaway, leave the room, and they could still win. You have to be
the
present.
interesting thing about yeah, the interesting thing about giveaways is there's a form. You don't have to actually enter the giveaway. You can just fill out the form and be eligible
Hmm.
for like a
Mhm.
buyer's giveaway.
For a
So there
buyer's,
are
yeah.
two different types of giveaway. I'm sure that Ashley was going to cover this, but there are two different kind of giveaways. You can do a buyer's giveaway, which is appreciation for their buyership, or there's the free giveaway, which is just for entering and following the host. So there's two different flavors of giveaway. So
Mhm.
just know that. So with the
Yeah.
buyer's giveaway, they can fill out a form and still win. I'm not exactly sure of the details, and I think that's illegal back to the old sweepstakes
Mhm.
days where you
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that they don't elicit
Sometimes
sales
like
or revenue by like being icky about
gambling.
things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Technically, I think it's law. So
Yeah, federal law.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's the buyer's giveaway, as Bob brought up, or a regular. You could do it as a followers giveaway. As you're setting up that item, you can pick that option. Um, do, 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 do. So if you want to start your giveaway, you'll see the Givey section is next to your auction. You'll just click on start giveaway. And then all of that information's on the left, but then on the right, you're able to actually see your giveaway running and it has that 5 minute timer. The other thing to let y'all know is, let's say you're doing a quick show and it's less than 5 minutes and your giveaway is not going to run in time. You can actually end that giveaway to draw a winner before you move on. You can end it and it'll select a winner. You don't
At any
have to
time.
let it go. Yeah, you don't have to let it run the whole 5 minutes either.
Yeah, so you can do it 20 seconds, and whoever's in that 20 seconds, bam.
I've
Yep,
seen
and
Vintage and More leave a show with a giveaway running. I wonder if it pulls the winner.
It does.
so
This happened to me.
I was going to
Vintage and
say
More is
I've
Bill
had
is Wild Bill. He does what he wants.
I've
He's
had where
awesome. Follow Bill.
I ended the show. I've rated and
Yeah.
forgot to pull, and it never pulled the Givey.
Oh, never
Interesting.
did.
Okay, so I had it at one of the raids, and I was running the giveaway, forgot to hit end before I rated. But two people stayed behind. They didn't get rated, like they got left behind, and they were
Yeah,
still in the giveaway. So I still had a winner.
Oh, so
yeah,
whoever's
that might be it
entered into
too.
the giveaway doesn't transfer with the raid. I noticed that about Whatnot sometimes. Like, not everybody goes with their raid. That's an
Yeah, sometimes
important.
we get left
Once you
behind.
get to rating and all that stuff. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Some
boy,
people
there's a
get
lot,
left
y'all.
behind. Yeah.
Don't worry though. Ashley's got y'all. She's
So you can end the giveaway. It'll pull a winner. The next option on your far left hand side next to your giveaways is you have your buy now function. So we were talking about your shop. So if you have a marketplace, you can do it as a buy now item. Basically, essentially, all it is an item that is in your buy it now or your bin, as we all like to use. That I don't have to run it. You don't have to wait for me to run it. You can purchase it straight out at that price and you bought it. You don't have to fight anybody for it, anything like that. Um, you can pin those items because I know for me, sometimes I try to cater my bin or my buy it now in my shows to the items I already have in my show. So like for instance, if somebody's like, "Oh, I want strawberry shortcake," and I was like, "Oh, well, I have this book bundle that you get strawberry shortcake and you get 5 books," and I'll pin it and be like, "You can buy it now," and pin it for a second and show them the different options to pin it, and that'll help with sales too. Because some people, I think, depending on your show, is they might be really into your auction tab that they're not looking at your buy it now, but making that suggestion like, oh, I also have this here, and showing them, then people start looking and start hunting through that buy it now, which helps with, I guess, I guess it's kind of like an impulse buy.
Mm.
I guess you could say if I already bought some stuff in your auction, ooh, what you got in your buy it now? Like throwing
It's
some
kind of like the
stickers
checkout
and
lane, right? When you're at the checkout lane and you're
yes,
waiting to go through the checkout, you're in
yes.
that. That's why TJ Maxx has that long ass checkout lane with all that crap around the register. The crap around the registers you're buying now. I
Right
know
at the
that's not
level of
terrible. That's a
children
terrible
and
analogy, but it's pretty
nannies.
accurate, right? So
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. But yeah, that's what I use it for as well. Also, on the left hand side, underneath all of your offers, auction, giveaways, buy now that we saw, you'll be able to see sold items. You can also see any tips that have come through. And then there's a search functionality where that's where, like I was talking about before, um, I'm gonna I'm gonna give Mama Cat Thrifter for numbering system, especially if you're running a set show and having set number listings. It makes it a lot easier if you number it like one is a doll. You can actually just search one and then you're able to find that product, pin it real fast, and run it versus having to type in. But you can search your products in that search function for your products to pin and run. And then directly below that, you have a pre bid button. That is going to show any pre bids that you have in your someone has pre bid on an item. So it keeps you in the loop as to what items have been pre bid on. And that's something that I say periodically check. Sometimes the people that are in your chat will say, "Hey, I pre bid on this." But as we've talked before, a lot of people are really quiet in your chat and won't tell you, like Ellie said, they're not going to talk. They're just going to be quiet, not tell you what they want. And I think some of it might be that they're scared that if they say, "Hey, I want that bear in the big blue house," then everybody's going to go, "What? There's a bear in the big blue house?" And it's kind of I
They don't
guess,
want the competition.
they don't want the competition. So they
Yeah.
don't want to let on to what they're selling. And I'm like, at the end of the day, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. So I'm like, if you want it, you got to speak up.
Yeah, because so they rolled out the function where we could see this pre-bids on our phones, and then am I correct that they took it away? Because I don't see it anymore when I run shows.
I
They
think it's
had they
yeah.
oh go ahead. They switched
No,
it
no,
where
go
on
ahead.
your I think on the main page, if you were on your phone, there was actually a pre-bid button that you could click onto it that it would show you your pre-bids, and as you ran them, it came off. Versus this version that is still there, the pre-bids, it'll show your pre-bids, but if you already ran it, it's still showing it has a pre-bid. I think the what was the other because I think with that it messed up what I think it's something they're tweaking because I know I was having an issue that when with that new functionality with the pre-bid, my timer, I had to keep resetting my time back to 15. I couldn't just set it at 15-second auction and run. I had to keep resetting it. I was running 30-second auctions like in an hour show like multiple times because I was like, "Oh, I forgot to change it."
So that's
Yeah.
important
So.
context because really quickly,
Mhm.
the features and functionality when they're new do not get pushed to everybody. So if we're
Yeah.
talking about a feature of functionality that you're not seeing on screen, just know that sometimes it doesn't get pushed out to the masses. It may get pushed out to a certain level of reseller as a beta to
Mhm.
test because they have the more experience. So who would you rather test your product? Someone with little to no experience that may not use the function, or someone with a higher sale count that might see the function as useful and be able to test? So that just makes logical sense. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to mention that really quickly.
Yeah, good
Yeah, and
call.
I was just going to say the importance of this is that some people don't have a second a device to use as their controller, so to speak. And so this pre-bid on our phones, if we're recording on our phones and we can see our pre-bids on our phones, is a huge help to those of us who may have hundreds of items listed, because then we don't have to scroll and look for what items are pre-bid on. It's a hassle if you only have the one device.
Yes.
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
can't say enough the power of pre-bid because and pre-bids don't necessarily mean sales either. Let's talk about that
Yes.
really quick.
Good
I'll let
call out.
Ashley speak to
Yes.
that. So
Oh yeah. Ashley had I was like, okay, girls just want to have fun. Raid train. Okay, we're gonna try it again. I can't sell this stuff by myself. We're gonna try it again. We're gonna rerun it on plush and toy. Man, I had $70 worth of pre-bids. I was like, let's go. I ran 8 of them. Payment fail, payment
Payment
fail, payment
fail.
fail, payment fail, payment. And I was like, oh, I was like, and
so
you can tag the people, but depending on everybody has a different work schedule and stuff. And we all know that sometimes it's the bank that flags it. It's multiple purchases. It could be that. It could be insufficient funds. It could be a lot of things. So,
I
but
will say though, even when that does happen, to encourage sellers to reach out to that person who did put in those pre-bids and maybe say, "Hey, I saw that you put in pre-bids in my show. Payment failed on them. If you are still interested in these, they can be available in the buy it now or something." And sales
yeah,
can still come of
absolutely.
that. You never know who's, little kids back there clicking pre-bid on 50 items or something. But if somebody really wanted that item and then later they can't remember you, can't find you, it could help to send them a message.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
correct.
sure.
Good call
Because
out.
they could be questioning too, like, why didn't I get that item? I must have been outbid,
That's
which
happened to
may
me.
not be the case, right? They may, like Ellie
Mhm.
just mentioned, it might be the other reasons. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's a good point to reach out and like Ashley mentioned, closed mouths don't get fed. So that's the
Hmm.
best way forward with that type of thing.
And
And what do you have to really lose?
Yeah.
Um, the only other thing I could say is if they're not following you and you message them, it will get left in a draft or in like a spam bucket. So
yeah,
that's the only other unfortunate part of what they changed and recently is not all messages get sent out. So if you're not following each other, that message could get lost in the ether until that person looks in their junk. So
Yeah.
correct. Yeah.
unfortunately,
Yes, unfortunately.
We do get a
All
red
right.
push notification though. So
yeah.
Yeah,
So
you'll get the big
hopefully
red
they're better
blast
than me
like
because I don't read those.
well,
I do.
mine is I think on the one instance, I thought they had gotten one item. I thought one item payment went through, and then I started seeing the red, and then when I looked, I was like, "Oh, they didn't get anything." I was like,
Dang.
"Dang."
Womp womp womp.
So,
But
Yeah.
um,
But continue because you had that interest though, just know that your items are valuable. And
Yeah.
just because that person's not in your show the first few times through, don't take that as your item's not good enough either. Just know
oh
that
yeah.
sometimes it takes the right buyer at the right time, just like any other platform, the right buyer in the right time. Amanda just sold a teddy bear that we've had for almost 2 years for almost $350 tonight
Holy
on Etsy.
moly.
So it's just a matter of the right buyer in the right time. So
Mhm.
I know who I'm calling
just
after this.
it's Mary Meyer Jumbo.
Wow,
Oh
that's
I'm
awesome.
sure
wow.
I'll be doing a reel. Actually, I
Yeah.
won't because she already packaged it. So
Oh.
because they need it expedited, they probably paid just as much
Oh
in
wow.
Oh
expedition
wow.
than they did in the actual package. So, but anywho,
Well, that's awesome. Congrats on that
yeah,
sale.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. It reminded me that just because it happens and you don't sell it, don't worry, it'll sell.
it'll sell.
If there's value in the item and you know it's good, trust your gut
Oh
because
yeah.
9 times out of 10 you're going to be right.
And let me say this, especially for newer sellers, sometimes you only have three eyes or five pairs of eyes on your items. And it's not like static listing where maybe you have the potential of hundreds of people to see that item. You have to be live for it to be seen. And you can go 3 shows, 5 shows, 10 shows before selling that same item. And I've seen people get discouraged because, oh, I didn't sell anything. Okay, but you haven't gotten those eyes on yourself yet. So just keep going, keep
Oh
trying.
yes. Mhm.
You
We
have
all
to be
remember the days of, oh, who's watching? Oh, just me. Oh, there's another person. Hi. Hi.
talking to yourself.
Cover up that number. Cover up that number on there and
Cover
just
up
keep
that
going.
number.
That'll be me when I come back someday to
Oh my
whatnot. Because
gosh,
I'm
yeah.
not, I'm
No,
not,
they'll
I'm
be
not done with whatnot. It's just for me, it's a pause. So
Mm.
I'll be back, and I'm gonna bring a bunch of friends when I come back. So it's gonna be awesome.
So I
So
think
if you,
Tiny Toins mentioned something earlier in chat saying that it's tough when you take a break because it's like
It does.
you start over.
it is,
Out of sight, out of mind.
it's all about mindset and understanding that. Once you understand that that's what's gonna happen, it
Glenn,
reframes
hi.
your thinking. So,
Yeah.
oh, Swamp Picker,
Swamp Pickers in the
what's up, Swamp
house.
Picker?
I see you, friend. Thank you for stopping in.
Hey, we're just talking about whatnot. The
Yeah.
things that we
So
do,
what, nodding?
whatnot and the notting on the Monday.
If I'm not mistaken, Glenn only does static listing. Are you on Whatnot? I think maybe just as a buyer. I'm not sure.
Okay.
We met Glenn Swamp Pinker. Actually, I'm not sure, Bob, if you met him at the Tennessee meetup
So
reseller
names
meetup.
and faces are not my forte. However, if face is more so. So if I saw, let me see that mug, Swamp Picker.
Yeah,
There's a pretty good, a pretty good chance that we met. Maybe
he's on eBay and Posh. Yeah.
being
Okay.
posh.
Yeah, so we're doing something a little different here. We're going through how to sell on Whatnot.
We keep on going back to what actual static listing can do too, because it is a marketplace at the end of the day. So if you wanted to use
Yeah.
it for that, we mentioned that earlier. So I just want to be clear that if you're new to Whatnot and you're nervous, maybe start off there just to
Mhm.
kind of get familiar with the UI, get familiar with the platform, get familiar with the shipping, all the things that you might be nervous about on going live. Try the marketplace first
Yeah.
Mhm.
and just see, maybe have some friends and family buy some stuff from you just to get used to what the shipping might look like. So that's something that I did when a friend of ours in the neighborhood actually started reselling. We convinced her to try it, and as she was setting up her store, I bought something from a Mercari shop while she was here setting it up at the house. She was
And
like, "Oh
she's
my
like,
god, I got a sale already!"
that's awesome. I love
it
that.
was it was me. It was me because I wanted to give her an idea of what the shipping looked like. So that's a good lesson in doing so. If you have someone that can help you out in that regard, it might be a good way forward of understanding that. So just know there are ways around stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you're nervous or scared or you want to kind of break your teeth, break it on the marketplace.
Yeah. Definitely. It gives you the functionality of how Whatnot runs and how to list items, to how to do the shipping, like you're saying. So
Yep.
definitely a way to get your feet wet.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Get used to the fees, get used to all the other stuff that comes with it, the expectation that it has to be delivered before you
Hi,
get your
Glenn.
money, blah, blah, blah,
Yep.
all the things. So
Yep.
bye, Glenn. All right, bye. Bye bye. He's like, well, not, I'm out.
Yeah, right? No, that's okay. Appreciate you stopping in.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Okay, where were we, Ash?
So we went over the left-hand side of the screen. Now we're going to look at the right. So on the right-hand side, you're able to see your gross sales. You can see your estimated orders. So that's as they're bidding, you can see what your gross sales is going to be and how many orders. You can also see your show time, how long you've been on. You can see any tips you've gotten. You can see the shares if anyone has shared your show. And then you can also see bookmarks. And then the next functionality that we've talked about is you have your chat section. So in your chat section, you can actually see who's in there, who's talking, all different sort of things. You can see watching, which I always say, do not click on the watching. Sometimes don't, like, we're all looking at that red dot to see how many people are in the room. Just carry on as if there's there's at least 5 people in the room. Don't look at the watching how many people. Then you also have the activity section that's going to show you pre-bids. It's going to show you sold, that sort of thing on the activity. Under the chat, you can actually filter it by, you can see everything that's in chat. You can filter it by questions. So if somebody puts a question mark, you can see those questions. They'll get bumped up if you click on the questions. You can see your buyers, mods, as well as muted. So that's all you can see. And then at the very bottom is where you can type into your chat as well.
So here's one thing that I didn't know about activity. Under the activity, it will show you if you have pre-bids and who pre-bid. I didn't know
Yes.
that a few months ago. So
Okay.
good.
Yes. Good call
I
out.
didn't know
Sorry.
that either.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
learned that when I
You
lost.
got to get on, Bob, and sell.
Well,
What are you
and
doing, man?
that's another thing I want to call
8100
out
item sold later.
because it's another new functionality as well. Because before, where you see the red dot that has how many people, if you click on that prior to your show starting, you can go under activity and it'll show your pre bids. And I think
Mhm.
within like a day or like within 3 days, you can see who bid on it. But now, if you actually go into your auction tab and you're looking at your product, you can see exactly who pre bid on it and who's winning. So you can see the username now
In the
versus
auction?
before. Yes, in the auction. I
Okay.
can see it on mine. You can see who's winning. I know before you could see who bid on it, but after like 3 days, you would just have a pre bid and it wouldn't tell you who's winning.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's interesting because then you start, like we said, you start getting to know your audience when you start seeing those pre bids and you're like, oh, so and so likes this. Oh, do I have any more? Oh, what can I, you can start that thinking process of, what to, I guess, plus sell or items that you have that were like people would want as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the left hand side and the right hand side. Now we're going straight to the middle. So in the middle section of your screen, you're going to see the more. It's going to be three dots and then the word more underneath it. This is where a ton of your functionality is. So one thing that is on here, um, this is all different seller tools. There is a show randomizer. So it's I don't use it. I know and I'm going to show you what it looks like and then I'll get back to the other ones. So if you put show randomizer, I can speak. You can add entries. This is for a lot of it has other functionality at the bottom of NBA teams, NFL teams, MLB teams, shuffle entries, run spinner. So I think this is for a lot of which I'm not familiar with because I don't sell cards and stuff of that nature. But that is what I think this is used for. It's not something I use often or I've ever used, to be honest. But you can show it, and this is what it looks like when you click on show, or you can hide the randomizer.
There's a lot of specific games and there's rules for this on whatnot. You have to be
Correct.
very, very careful. You can lose your account
Correct.
really easily if you don't fall within the guidelines. So be careful if you see these games and other things that people are playing in their show to get sales. Know that that comes at a slippery slope at first. This might not be the option for you if you're new
Yeah,
to whatnot. But if
definitely.
you're an intermediate user and you've been on whatnot for a while, this is a powerful example of how you can become different than the rest. Sometimes by standing out and doing something differently, you might find a niche that you didn't realize you were good at.
Hmm.
So I want to encourage you also to try it if you're further on. Like the person that's watching this video might be further along their whatnot journey. Maybe this is an option for you.
Yeah.
So
And that's one thing I want to preface, and I'm going to show you how to get to the information, but make sure you know all the community guidelines, all the rules and rules that need to be followed when it comes to surprises, randomizer, all of that. Make sure you're doing your due diligence because you don't want to do something that will lose you your account. So it's very important. Read through all of that before doing it and become more comfortable with it.
yep.
Also within the more option, your seller tools, there's a poll function. So you can actually add a poll to your show if you click on that icon. This is where you can ask a question, you can get multiple choice answers. So when your buyer's audience comes into the show, it'll automatically pop up. So I just put in a question, what would you rather see, toys or would you rather see plush? And then gave them the option for toys or plush. And then once you select your question, how many, whatever choices you want, you can hit create poll. And then that's going to pop up on your right hand side where we talked about your showtime, everything else over there. You can actually see that poll up there, the question, you can start seeing the percentage. So that kind of helps. It'll This question in particular help guide you where you need to go. So if you have toys and plush and they want to see plush, well, that's what we're going to focus on, right? So they're kind of, it's helping gauge without asking them point blank and them having to put it. It's kind of, I guess you could say, a hidden. They can answer it and you don't know it's them, that they feel more confident in answering that versus putting it into chat. Hey, run this, whatever.
That and you
Um,
can see it live. Like as people are
correct.
answering, you're seeing those numbers.
Correct.
So that
Absolutely.
speaks to my data analytics heart because having that actionable intel in the moment can steer the course of your show and bring success automatically through that. So that's a powerful tool to be used. I wouldn't like hammer it too much because people don't want to always participate in that type of thing, but it can be useful to gain insight throughout. Like if you're having poor success, or maybe not having the results that you were anticipating, maybe asking a curated question can get you like more insight into what you're possibly doing or not doing right.
I've also
So,
used the polls to engage chat with
Mm-hmm.
like simple questions such as, what's your favorite animal? And to get people to get in that chat and engage.
because
Correct.
engagement brings other people, because the algorithm feeds off that. So that's a good point too. Like Ashley was saying earlier, or was it Ellie, tapping the screen,
Hmm.
creating that engagement, letting the algorithm know that you have people in your show and they're engaging and they're buying stuff. That's how you get momentum. All those things add up to that. So you want to make sure it's interactive. They call it a show for a reason.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So allow yourself to be your authentic self. We talked about it with Lost in the Toy Aisle a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about persona and also being your authentic self a bit. So if you like that type of conversation, be sure to check out the last episode of the podcast and we'll get back to it.
Yep. So you can see the results, like I said, on the far right hand side, and there's an option to end it. And then if you go back into that more functionality as well, you can hit end poll to end it, and then it'll pop up the results. So I think it should. It's been a hot minute since I've done a poll, to be honest, but it should pop up the results, and then it clears off
Hmm.
on the main screen. Yeah, and then I shocked about that.
Hey
Okay, the
Ashley, want to
other.
know something funny before you keep on going? This
No,
is
you're
the
good.
time of this. This is the time of the show where we usually ask people, "Who would you like to see on Launchpad Reseller podcast?" I'm not going to call you. I'm just kidding.
Who would you
Ashley,
like
she
to
said
see?
244.
Who do you want to see?
Who do you
Oh
want to see on
gosh,
Launchpad
I
Reseller
know.
podcast?
I know it's different when we don't have a guest, but hey,
Yeah,
Chat. Who's in chat? Who do y'all want to see?
there you
yeah.
go. There
Let's
you
go to
go.
Chad.
And then y'all
Who's
tell
Chad?
me
Who's chat?
who's chat.
I
Know
love
what
it.
we should do one of these episodes is we should have an open mic night where I randomly select someone from chat and give them the link to the StreamYard and have them on as a
Jump in.
special guest to just chop it up and get silly and talk about reselling. What do you guys think?
I think people are not going to want to come live. They're going to be like, I don't know about
Come on,
I
y'all.
need
stop being
advance
scared.
notice. I'm not ready. Yes, I can.
There's
If
someone out there's someone out there dying to open mic.
I know, right?
There's someone out
I
there
know.
dying to do it.
I know.
Maybe, maybe not. Anyways,
We'll
back to
see.
the show.
All right. Next functionality within the more section is you have the video filter where you can toggle. I'm not really going into that. Then we
What
have
is
the
it?
start raid. The start raid function.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm gonna. I, I have been in shows, and if you're a new seller, I understand completely. But if you have people in your room, take those people, take them, and take them to somebody else's show. Don't just end your show. I think sometimes you might have people left that they're like, okay, and they leave. And if there's nobody in the room, yeah, end your show. But start a raid. Bless somebody else with some folks in their room. So when you
I
click
think though,
into
even if
start,
you don't have
oh, go ahead.
anybody, sorry, even if you
No, go
don't
ahead.
have anybody, it's just like yourself. I do think that it boosts the algorithm to send that rate to somebody anyways.
Maybe
Correct. Yeah.
there's something to be said about the fact that you at least tried to be
Hmm.
a
Yeah.
community participant. But I
Yeah.
can see what you're saying also. Like, so it kind of depends. Like, leave your pride aside for a second
Yeah.
and maybe do it anyways, even if you don't have anybody, because it shows community in practice,
Correct.
which is really important and whatnot. I can't tell you how important that is. Matter of fact, playing in the same sandbox with like minded people and getting along and all the things that come with that can be super powerful and engaging and can create something that you may not intentionally thought about. So just kind of remember that this is a social media platform with a reseller layer.
Yeah.
So when you think about it like that, it kind of changes the way you might think about reselling. So
Hmm. True.
it's an important context.
Different strategies for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you click into the start raid, it's going to pop up another screen. You can actually search by user. So if there's somebody in particular that you know might be on, you can actually search that. It'll also show, it also has two different toggles underneath that search bar. You can see suggested and you can see new sellers. So your suggested is going to show people that that are currently on, that you have rated in before recently, or they're other sellers that you follow that are in your category as well. So you can choose to raid into them. That's from the suggested. And then there's also the new seller one, which I thought was very interesting. So this is showing new sellers. So maybe these are new sellers that are new to you that you haven't seen,
Hmm.
or they're brand spanking new sellers. But with some of these, with 1,100 people in the room, I was like, I think they're new to me. But you can see different new
Developed.
sellers. Yeah. And then at the very bottom, you can actually say, pick for me. Just
So
click
this
on
is a
that and they'll pick somebody for you.
yeah, this is a strategy actually, because you
Hmm.
could potentially now if you want to be a community partner and you have a friendship and all the things, you want to probably go with that angle. But you can also go from the angle of strategy where you raid into a bigger person to try to grab part of their following. So
Right. Because what happens when
it's
you
a
rate?
personal choice, right?
Yep.
What's
Yeah.
the first thing? Hey, thanks so much for the raid, Tennessee Treasures. I appreciate you. Rocket City Reseller. That's a shout out. That's a free shout out too. So,
Yeah, and
Right.
that's something that's important too in context because if you're newer to this and you're intermediate and you're not doing that, when someone raids you, it's courtesy. This gets into etiquette, and we'll have another podcast in regards to whatnot etiquette. That's not the intention of this one, but know that that's part of it, right? Being
Hmm.
that community partner and being that um, person that recognizes the effort that they have. Ask them about their show. Ask them, check to see if you're following them. If you're not following them, that you're bookmarking. So all those things help in building that partnership in that community. So
Hmm.
it goes a long way.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Okay. So that's how you raid.
before you move on, is that all of the ones that you have in the more three dots?
Uh, on this one, yes, because on the desktop version, it's just giving me these options, and then it goes into the poll. I mean, not the
I
poll,
just
the
want to
promote
mention,
section.
I do think that there's a function on Apple users that they can
Okay.
turn on or off the text. What do you call it? Captions, closed captions.
Oh, the captions.
Yeah, I don't think that's available for Android users, or possibly not on laptops either. I'm not sure, but I think for Apple,
I'm not
captions
sure
is an
either.
option. You can mute the seller themselves and then just
Yeah.
turn on captions. So,
That's
like if
also a good point that Apple and Android, there are two different platforms and they require different requirements and they are set up differently, just slightly differently
mhm,
Hmm.
for whatnot. So if you're seeing something that your friend's saying, "Hey, this is what it is," and you're like, "I'm not seeing it," there could be the difference between device, and just know that it's not you, it's not them, it's just the way whatnot is basically
yeah,
set up. So just know that. So just do a little bit more research if you ever get into that situation. Since this is
Hmm.
an intermediate course, we want to make sure that you understand the difference there.
yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be different each format. Yeah. Um, the next functionality is in the middle that you can see is promote. So in the promote section, this gives you more information. We covered it in intro, but this is where you can run a 15. It gives you options for run a 15-minute boost, promote your full show, rally a community boost as well. Within here, it has a learn more option as well. And of course, this was a private stream, so that's why it's saying I can't promote within the show, because if it's a private show, you wouldn't be promoting it. Nobody can come in. But with this, there is monetary money that goes into it that gets charged for the promotion. So that's something to look into more detailed before running that to boost
Definitely
or
learn
promote
about
your
this.
full. Yes,
This can give you a negative balance at the end of your show if you don't make the surplus for that. So
correct. Yes, absolutely.
I've done some promotion, and I don't know if I've it led to sales. I will say, I try to be a community partner and boost people's shows. I'm not
Hmm.
sure how much that helps. I've heard from other people like Mama Cat Thrifter that it swung for her for momentum once,
Hmm.
mhm.
but I'm not exactly sure how that helps. Hopefully, it's helping you guys when I do that. That you're
It's
seeing a
kind of a hit
difference.
or a miss. I've seen it a couple
So
times, and it's always, like, wow, thank you so much. And I don't know if it has to do with category, time of day, and all of these other analytics that we see, but we do get to see on our end um, if somebody came into our show from a boosted promotion.
oh, okay.
So we get to see that, and I think the rest of the chat doesn't get to see that. Ash, do you know?
I'm not sure because I hadn't looked. I hadn't seen that. I hadn't seen that
Because
function.
because it happened to me once. Thank you, Bob. And I was seeing the people that were coming in through the promoted um, action, but I was announcing it, and then I realized I don't think that everybody else can see. I don't think everybody else can see that, so I shouldn't be announcing it. Um,
I think when it says share and someone comes through a shared link, it
Yeah.
that's probably the best like time to announce something like
yeah,
that because you want to recognize the person that took the time to share your show and
definitely.
someone actually came through that shared link to you and even bought something from you.
Hmm.
Even
Hmm.
more so a reason to celebrate that person because now you're a community in partnership, right? So
Right.
Correct. Hmm.
yeah.
Yep. Um, Underneath the promote functionality, you have notes. So this is where you can actually put notes that your audience can come in and read. I normally, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, Ashley and hers. I normally have welcome, just welcome in everyone to whatever the show is. Check out the auction tab and bin, request welcome. If it's a raid train, thank you to our amazing host, such and such. Um, and then also, like, please follow all of the amazing sellers on today's train. And I try to put the lineup. I'm in Eastern time, so if I have a Central time person, I switch over all those time slots to Eastern, just so one, it keeps me on track of who's next and that sort of thing, and I know where I'm supposed to be at. But that way they can see the whole lineup and who's coming, who's up next. So like, say they don't have it, I don't have anything in my show, maybe they're like, oh, who's the next person? And I know we've all seen it, like you're getting ready 5 minutes before your spot on the raid train, and you have people coming in checking out your auction tab, and it's because they're realizing you're next and they're just looking at down the road. So I think that helps with that. And two, it's also giving that shout out to them as well, not just within, but you can see. And I always try during raid trains to, like, you may not see it, but within the first 5 minutes before I start, I run through who has been on it. Like, if you missed out, we had so and so, so and so. I just try to keep it so that way it is still promoting everyone on the train and not just, oh, who's next or who came before me. It's just keeping it, I guess. I guess it's that community thing, just trying to make sure everybody knows.
Definitely, I do think that these can be a very important tool for people who are running like mystery shows or whatever the games that we were talking about earlier. You put how your show runs, if there's any um, directions that you need to follow, or such and such. The show notes are going to tell you what you need to know, and you'll hear the seller say, "Hey, check out my show notes. Please look at that before you bid or before you buy," or etc.
Mhm.
So it can be used in several different manners as well.
This is a
Correct. And
protective mechanism. It can very well suit to that. I don't want to lawyer up, but if you're going to lawyer up, this is where you would do it. You
yeah.
would basically put in the rules of engagement here,
Hmm.
because that's going to protect you when it comes time. And there's rules for games and things that you have to follow for whatnot. If you're within those guidelines and have good show notes, they don't have a very strong case. A lot of buyers and whatnot is very much a seller platform for now. I
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
know if that will always be the case because I've heard rumblings that that could be changing.
Hmm.
Right now, they're handling all returns, all they're not a lot really relying on the seller to take care of the actions. They're taking care of that on our behalf. But I can imagine as this thing grows, it's going to
Mhm.
become like eBay, right? Where
Hmm.
you
Mhm.
have to do that stuff on top of everything else. So just know that could be changing. So take advantage of it now while you can. I'm not
Oh yeah.
saying that, but just remember that, right? So that you can say, I've done everything I can within the power that I have. If there's a
Mhm.
problem with the order, so and I think that's probably an advanced course. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
talk
Yes.
about what to
Always
do when
come.
things don't go good,
Yeah.
Yeah, when things don't go good.
when things go sideways and whatnot.
Yeah. So that's your notes. And then we talked about before the shares. There's actually a share function underneath your notes where you can actually, within your show, you can share it. You can search by user. It'll show recent sellers that are sellers or buyers, users on whatnot that you have shared shows with. And then you also have where you can copy the link. You can actually share it to Reddit, Facebook, WhatsApp, and Twitter. So it gives you the option to share the show those ways, at least on the desktop version.
This is another thing that we need to cover in our etiquette. Have you? Maybe we don't get too much into it now, but I have seen people complain about um, the friends bar there, where they're getting kind of spammed with every single show from certain sellers, or you know.
Correct. And I can speak from in the very beginning. I would share my show. When I was a little lonely followers, I was sharing it with everybody that was following me. And I did have someone reach out and like, this is considered spam. And I said, okay, retract. And then I started, I'm very particular. Like if I share, I'm trying to share to potential users that I know that someone in that show, either in my show or whatever show it is, has an item that they typically buy.
Right.
But yeah,
So
that's a
I'm going
good
to give
call.
you an advanced. I'm going to give you an advanced look into a potential moneymaker. So as a data scientist, what I do is I go to analytics, I go to my top buyers, and I go down that list and I write down everybody's name, and then I know what they bought, right? Because it was a particular kind of show, and I data mine that. You
Hmm.
can either categorize all that and put into a spreadsheet and know exactly when, what their preferences are,
Bob, you're such a
etc.
nerd.
I know, but this is how I got 8,000 sales in,
That's
in
amazing. That's amazing.
in such a short time. So just know that you can do things like that, right? You
Yeah.
can create almost like a CRM. This is basically a customer model based off of what previous, and companies do this, right? Why do
Hmm.
you think they have those little store tags? It's
Yeah.
not to give you loyalty points. It's to track what you're buying
Yeah.
so that they
So
can curtail things to your preference. So just know that you can do that through
I'm
that.
going to my analytics. If anybody
Go to
is
your
wondering how to
analytics,
get
right?
there, I do
You're
think
gonna
that
have a
the
plush and toy show. X person likes Hello Kitty and that they bought that from you.
hmm
So near their name, just put, and you have to do this as soon as it happens because you're not going to remember, right? So in
right.
your spreadsheet, put their name, what they bought, and if you wanted to put the price, it doesn't matter. You don't need to do that, but just their name, what they bought, and then you can kind of create a list of people, right?
Hmm.
If you're especially if you're cross category, right?
Hmm.
So now you this person is, let's for example, we'll use Courtney as an example. This person, she's multi-category. This person bought Tupperware. This person bought toys. This person bought precious moments. This person bought Christmas. Where does it intersect? This person bought three of my four categories. That's the person, right?
Mm.
So
Hmm.
now that becomes a powerful thing. you can gain understanding and insight into your business really quickly by doing that, and it doesn't take much effort. It sounds like it's very like labor intensive, but it really isn't. It takes you maybe 5 minutes after a show. So to do that, to take those buyers and then put them in a spreadsheet and know that those user IDs equal sales, because those are the buyers. You don't want to follow everybody. You want to follow your buyers.
I do recommend that. If you're
So
running shows, follow those buyers. I was just going to say that I do believe that we covered that in Whatnot Beginner. We briefly went through analytics, I believe.
Yeah, we briefly went through. I think I'll have to go look. I know I posted it. I think it might have had top buyers, but you can kind of sheet. If not, that might be something we broach when
For
we broach
advanced.
later. Yeah,
I'll take
broach.
you one step further. You can use AI to do a lot more than that, and I'll leave it at that. But that's an advanced course that you're going to want to come back for.
Dang, Bob is dropping tea.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
Ooh,
how Rocket City Resellers became a $250,000 business in less than 2 years.
that's
If you'd like,
amazing.
follow along
Mhm.
this podcast and that journey. So,
Y'all are
Oh,
not ready
sorry.
for that smoke.
I know, right? So, and then the other one, like we talked about rating out, but two, you can also just end your show. There's only two other things, and I'm just going to touch on them because these are amazing resources. And I think a lot of times people don't know how to find them, or they found them and now they can't remember how to get to it. Going back to your seller hub, which is where we started going into your shows, on the far left hand side, you have a whole bunch of icons. At the very bottom, you have an open book and you have an eye within a circle. So what those are is the open book is seller resources. So all types of seller resources you can find there. And then your eye with the circle around it is your frequently asked questions. So going into your seller resources, there's a homepage, there's a go live guide, grow your business resources and help on the main page. And as you scroll down, there's seller resources, getting started, community guidelines and policies, community guidelines and policies. Make sure we're looking at that. Um, Webinars and blog updates, market your shows, and then you can find your frequently asked questions there as well. One thing I wanted to look at is this go live guide. So they have a step by step where you have prepare your account um, section. Then you have a pre show, you have showtime, post show, and shipping, a checklist, level up your production. So I was just going into pre show because we already talked about how to. This is where you can find the YouTube videos, excuse me, that'll walk you through the steps that you can see it. And then they also have the how to step by step how to do it. And then they also have different tips on like scheduling your first shows. Like one, a catchy title is going to help draw people in. Thumbnails are important. That's going to help attract buyers, stuff like that. They also have the section about add your listings, a video again, how to preload items if you want to, how to do that. It walks you through that how to. And then you also get tips as well. Excuse me, sorry. And then tips. And then on this, after the tips on, we said add listings, it has specialty sales types. Sorry, y'all. It has PSA grading, your mystery items.
that's your cue, Ashley.
I know.
It's okay.
Mystery items, hazardous
It's a lot,
materials,
yo. Yeah.
tons of information. Creating a nice atmosphere. I'm not going to read through all of it. It also gives you recommended products, shipping resources, how to share your show,
Just know
practice
that
with a private.
yeah, we'll give Ashley a break from talking for a second. Just know that there's a lot of resources within Whatnot proper under YouTube that you could potentially leverage for more information. And just know that that exists as a tool as well. Also, shout out to my boy Ray, the Nashville Flipper. He did a video like when Whatnot first was dropping 10 things I wish I knew before I started Whatnot.
Hmm.
You're definitely going to want to watch that. So hit up the Nashville Flippers. Ray is a resource in this community, is a partner to everybody. So
Okay.
he's done all the work for you. And if you're kind of curious what those items are, feel free to check. It's got like 1 million views or something.
Wow.
So yeah, that's one of his most viral videos. But those videos exist out there, and know that that stuff's in this community, and it's available to you as a resource. And so are we.
Good.
Ashley, I think we're just about there, don't you?
I'm gonna finish up just because I wanted to show one last thing within that all that whole everything. There's
Okay.
actually a checklist. As soon as I can share it, a checklist at the end.
Cheers.
But this walks you through canceling orders. There is a checklist on going live that I
Oh, let me see if I can bring that
think
back
would
up for you.
be key. Oh, that I think
There it
would
is.
be key. You see it?
Yep,
Yeah.
we see it. We're good.
The checklist that'll show you like what how to prepare for the pre-show. I think this is key. Showtime, what you need, post show, all of that information as well. And then just frequently asked questions. Last thing, you can actually search.
Chances are, if you've had a question, somebody else has already had it too. So definitely a good tool. I see where you're going. Help you out.
Yeah. Don't worry, she's not gonna expire. She's resilient.
Right.
Notice I didn't use a de muerte.
Oh yeah.
I know,
Please
right?
no.
You can't do that on YouTube. Oh my god.
Well, you
So
can search
it's
if I
okay,
need to.
Ashley. Yeah.
Sorry, y'all.
No, you're good.
But
You're
listen, if
okay.
I talked for an hour and 36 minutes about whatnot, I'd probably wouldn't have last 10 minutes, honestly. Because it's a very it's not necessarily complex, but there's a lot of moving parts and whatnot. And it's very important to understand that it's like, you ever hear the old adage, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's kind of like
Learn
that,
from
right?
you.
I don't know. I'm old and I say things. Who knows? But yeah, that's basically it, right? Just take it little bits at a time, and start with the marketplace. If you're an intermediate user, Ashley's giving you a lot of tools, tips, tricks, and we actually had a great conversation about a lot of these things more in detail, because that's probably the audience for this podcast. So know that there's a lot of things that were covered in a range of subjects. I recommend bookmarking this episode and coming back to it for reference when the time comes, because there's so much information that came out of here today. So
Also, drop any questions. If you're watching the replay of this, drop the questions so that we can kind of understand what questions you might have
Oh,
as a new seller or as an existing seller who has, I don't know, certain questions for how to run a show or etc.
yeah,
that we
and
can.
if that's a good point, because if you're not having a lot of success, and I gave a little bit of tips and tricks regarding the data analytics part of it
Mhm.
that could be potentially useful, and might miss it because it was near the end of this podcast. So maybe we can clip that and put that inside a reel. That way draws attention to this podcast, because that's just one small example of the depth and breadth of the knowledge of this group. But we all have something that we all know that's helped us be successful. And we work in partnership with each other so we can, take it to the community too, because we know a lot of resellers. We've met a lot along the way, not just in whatnot, but in reselling in general, through meetups, through this podcast, all the things. We've talked to $1 million resellers. We just had Cam Life on, $1 million reseller. We had Wade's Ventures, another $1 million reseller. These guys are selling on whatnot. We're fixing to have another reseller come on the podcast that is also, and I'm not going to say drop names, but be on the lookout in May. Ellie's working the details out. We're going to have another person that's a huge in the storage locker genre. We're going to have on the podcast that's going to give you even more insight, because they are hot, hot, hot on whatnot.
Yes.
So all those things are going to happen, and they're going to happen so quickly. So we want to encourage you to be in partner with us. Remember, we're your mission control for all things reselling, and we're going to make sure that we scale up your business. and be a partner with you in that. Final thoughts around the room. Ellie, let you go first.
If you made it this far, you're the real MVP. Thank you for being here. If y'all
For
are here,
real.
don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
man, we have a lot in store in the coming months, so make sure to follow along.
For sure. We appreciate our Spotify listeners along the way. And remember these episodes are sponsored by Nifty.ai. If you want to uplift your cross listing and bring your reselling journey to the next level, know that Nifty.ai can do that. It does inventory control, it does cross listing, it does shares, it does promotions, it does a lot of work for you for just $89.99. That's the cheapest part-time employee you're ever going to find. That's a full-time employee. Trust me. It's going to scale your business so much. Nifty.ai in the first 4 days of January paid for 4 months for itself. Put that
Code.
in context. Code Rocket City will save you 15%. And there it is.
It's like, where's the button?
I'm like, say it.
I'm shameless when it comes to that. But in all seriousness, though, it has, and I'm only that way because I believe in the product that much. So just know that too. And I'll go ahead and throw the code up in the corner for y'all so you can scan that QR code. And Ashley, so much was said, so much wisdom dropped. And final words for your viewership.
I think the biggest one is just, trying to give you the resources. If it wasn't, I'm gonna make sure that I post so you can see, but show you where you can find the resources on whatnot.
Don't be as scared, okay? Don't be as scared to hit that go live button and thank yourself later. All right, guys, I've been the Rocket City Reseller. You guys been awesome, and we will catch you on the next episode. Peace out, y'all. Until next time. Look at you, sir.